Rogers TV.
I'm Sam Laprade. Welcome to An Hour to Give. Today we're going to learn all about Ottawa Salus, and I'm so excited to welcome our first guests. Mark McCauley's here. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Great, Sam. Thanks for having me.
It's great to be here with you and learn all about Ottawa Salus because we've got lots to talk about. But you brought a guest with you. You brought a friend, Papa Lajike Diout. How are you?
I'm good.
It's
How are you?
wonderful to have you here.
Thank
What's
you for
your
having
role
us.
with Ottawa Salus?
I'm the clinical director for Salus. Right now, I'm with Salus since May, and I'm so excited to join that incredible team.
And that team is led by you, Mark McCauley, and we've known each other a long time.
Yes, we have.
And you have honestly landed in, I get emotional thinking about it, the most perfect spot for you.
Thank you. I have.
Yeah.
It just makes my day every day that I get to go to work and I feel my passions of helping people and really making a difference in society, in the world, and lead a team that are equally compassionate about their work. I love it. And it's busy, but I love it, Sam.
And for those that may not be familiar with Ottawa Salus and what you do, give us the elevator speech. What are you doing at Ottawa Salus?
Our focus is working with people who have serious, persistent mental health and substance use health challenges. And we provide supportive housing so that they can, A, independently live, and the other option is sometimes they need transition supports, so we help them transition from hospital to community, and they'll work with us in our programs.
It's incredible. And your role, obviously, is a key role.
Yeah.
When you first arrived, because you're, as you mentioned, kind of newly arrived at Ottawa Salus, what made you take this position? What was kind of the driver for you?
Yeah, I think that first of all, it was like the culture and the history of Salus. And what I found very, very interesting is Salus have a very very long history of helping those populations that are vulnerable and helping them to regain dignity, because it's very important. We have a lot of piece of stigma in mental health and substance use health also. And what Salus is trying to do and doing every day with our team, the professional there, with our client, to help them maintain their hope. Because one of our key message is that at Salus, it's where hope finds a home.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And I know, Mark, I know you arrived a number of years ago. You have certainly not been without challenges. We'll just say COVID, we'll say an issue that you've obviously had at a building, but you're creating something brand new, which is really exciting as well.
Well, we are, and it is one of the things that we heard from our clients is we're aging and we need help as we age, and there's no place for us to go except for a long-term care home, but Salus is our family. Where do I go? What do I do as I age? So we listened to them, and we actually went and looked at the literature, and there's no research around how to best help people who are aging with mental health and substance use health issues. Very, very little literature. So we went ahead and we said, let's build a place. It's a gap in our community, this supportive housing for people who are aging. And particularly our clients, within our client base, there's many of them who are prematurely aging. And what I mean by that is because of their substance use or mental health challenges, plus they're marginalized, so they don't have access to health care and they don't have access to good nutrition, they're prematurely aging. Someone who is 40 has a body of a 70-year-old, but our healthcare system doesn't meet that need. So that's what we're trying to do, is really meet that gap, and so that they know when they come to Salus, if they choose to live with us, they can stay for as long as they want. And like anybody else, is they have a place and a home to stay for as long as they want to. So it gets me every time, because it's just, it's such an important thing. And we give it to everybody else in the system. So why not them?
And the system. Can we talk about the system? Because there's not a day that goes by that I don't see a post on social media, somebody that's looking for mental health resources and they feel like they can't find them. How does the system work within Salus?
Yeah, I think that we know how to navigate the system with our clients. And what is really interesting right now is Salus is working to have other organizations around, because we are in a client-centered approach. And we need to have a dynamic, collaborative approach with other organizations around, and help our client to better navigate the system, because we have a lot of barriers. We can talk about those minorities and some very vulnerable population we have in our clients and tenants, and those particularly, sometimes they need adapted, cultural adapted services. And it's for them very difficult to navigate sometimes because of some barriers we can have in the system.
So are you breaking down barriers, Mark? I mean, is that what this is about?
It absolutely. Take the silos down and work together as it should be, and what we believe, work with the whole person, who they are, where they come from, their whole way. They're not just their mental health, they're not just their addiction, they're not just someone who is physically ill. And you know, this is something we talk about all the time, is how do we make it better? And we're constantly, in our meetings, we're constantly challenging ourselves, and we go to the staff and say, what do we need? And we talk to the clients, what do we need to do this, to make it better? And that's what we're trying to do, Sam, is really try push this, not just our organization, but push the sector to change. We have to change.
Yeah. And I love, you mentioned donors, you know, being centered around the client, being centered around what their needs are, having those conversations with them. Is that new to you, or is it always the way you've worked and they do the same at Ottawa Salus? Yeah,
for 10 years right now, I'm working in the system as a clinical director and being on the strategic tables around substance use health and mental health. And what I always say is that being inclusive to clients doesn't mean just to give them some papers to fill. Being inclusive to them, because they are the expert of their lives.
Right.
We are just helping them. And we need to respect that reality that clients' voice are really important to help us, you know, provide the best services, like the adapted services for them. Yeah.
And it takes all of us, Mark. I mean, this is why I'm so glad you're here today, because I think about the federal government, the provincial government, the municipal government. I think about donors. This is that whole analogy of a village, right?
It truly takes a village to do this, and lining up the village is an important part. And we're trying, and that's where we're pushing the system. Is, you know, in this for our Capilano project for aging in place, we're going and saying to federal gave us some money, provincial gave us some money, here locally the city gave us some money, and now we're looking also for our donors to help support us. But in doing this, we can meet a need, and that's what we're focused on, is lining up our services with the need in the community, because it's just, well, it's hard to say, like, it just means a lot to our clients when they know they have somebody supporting them. That's what happens. That's where I see the joy in their eyes, is when something comes through and they walk into that apartment and it's their first home that they've had, and they say, I haven't had this in years. I haven't had my own apartment in 20 years. And you give them the keys. And that's everybody coming together to make it happen for that one person and we get one story, and we get one home. So I'm, as the CEO, I'm up here, working on how do we make the system better. Papa Lujike and his team, they're out there in the front line working with each individual. And it's just, it's an amazing, and humbling to be a part of it.
And dignity being at the core. How key is dignity being at the forefront?
I think it's in the center of everything, because as I said, the reality of stigma is one of the biggest barrier in our society when it comes to mental health and substance use health. And it is the result of a lack of education sometimes, And what we are trying to do is helping around us to better understand that reality and those needs, because those people we are trying to help are member of our community, of our families, and they need to regain that dignity and find themselves as part of our community.
And when I think about all of the challenges that the city faces, there's no two ways about it. How we treat our most vulnerable defines us as a community. And this is the perfect opportunity for people to stand up and say, this is how we're going to treat our most vulnerable. And if that was my son, daughter, aunt, uncle, father, mother, I would want them to have what Ottawa Salus offers.
Yes, it's very much that way. I can tell you that probably on a monthly basis, I get a call from a parent whose child is recently diagnosed with a mental health issue. They're in hospital, and they're saying, what can I do? And it's people from all stratas of life, and they don't know what to do. And so I don't care how busy I am, I take the time to talk to them and to say, here's what I know in the services and how you can navigate that. So when you say it defines our community, it does, because this is about helping someone in need. And at the end of the day, for me, from my perspective as a community, when we're able to help others, we're able to really, grow as a community in a meaningful way.
Beautifully said. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Sam.
You're going to come back in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be back.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
Today is all about Ottawa Salus on An Hour to Give, and I hope we find a way for you to get involved. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Watch the new season of The New Fly Fisher on Rogers TV.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university. So they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by Smart Serve Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
This is a perfectly healthy child. What's unhealthy are birth alerts, a racist practice that may stop this Indigenous mother from going home with her newborn. Become an ally. rise above racism in healthcare.
I love the opportunity to speak with people working the front line in some really important organizations in this city. And today is all about Ottawa Salus, and I'm so excited to welcome Isabel Arnedo to the show. Hello, Isabel. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
So excited you're here. So you have a very important role, case manager of the Francophone team,
Yes.
which may surprise people that you're very specific and you have that kind of service for the Francophone community.
Yeah, it might be surprising simply because there isn't a lot of services that will split up for Francophone, for Anglophone, their services like that. But it's so important because all of my clients, the majority, are Francophone and they much rather express themselves in French and explain whatever their issues are, whether it's mental health, whether it's housing, whether it's some sort of physical ailment they may have, something might be embarrassing or awkward or triggering, and all that. Anything that's painful to share, you would prefer to share it in your own mother tongue, I would think.
It goes back to the dignity we talked about a little bit earlier.
It
the
does.
dignity of having a service in your own language and being able to express yourself that way. Talk to me a little bit about your team at Salus.
My team, they've been around at Salus for much longer than me, like a couple of decades.
Wow.
Yeah, me 7 years only. And we are a very small team. We're 3. We have a group chat. We're constantly in communication with one another. I've got the situation. Do you know a resource? This, that, the other. So we're very, very tight. We see each other every week. And we communicate daily. And we're all over the city. We go from Barhaven to Orleans. We're driving around all over the city, meeting clients in the community. Does the client want to meet at a Tim Hortons, Water Park, or at their residence? Or is it a doctor's appointment? Are they at the emergency room? Do they need help with taking the bus and getting over that anxiety? So it's really one-on-one, face-to-face, out. I have some clients. Every single one of our meetings, we walk their dog, right? And that's the space where he feels comfortable, and we walk around the block over and over and over again, and it's a great time. Summer, winter, fall, doesn't matter. But it's my way of providing them the space, the room, the dignity, to be.
Things have changed in mental health. I mean, I think back to 20 years ago when, a lot of people were we didn't talk about mental health. Right. We didn't certainly have open conversations. And the fact that this is so tailored to the people you support, that sets Ottawa Salus aside.
You use the word I love, tailored, because every person's different and every situation is different. So in fact, we don't know what we're going to encounter on any given day with any given person. One person may have a traumatic brain injury and be unable to suddenly make herself a coffee following whatever injury she had to her head. And that's a person I'm trying to help cope with all of the bureaucratic aspects of life, all of the things that will literally render you homeless if you don't pay attention.
Right.
If that person has a housing subsidy and they don't do their taxes, they stop receiving that subsidy. But how does it affect her memory, right? How does that, you know what I mean? So we're finding tools to make sure that she is always ahead of the game. So calendars, notebooks, all kinds of gadgets to make sure that what is critically important in terms of paperwork gets done, because otherwise the person will fall through the crack. And then somebody else, the whole situation might be anxiety driven. Cannot leave the house, hasn't left the house in years, gets everything delivered. And we're working through that. Their goal might be to attend college, and it may take 2 years. The conversation is completely different. We're dealing with mental health. But from person to person, I'm walking into one world and in a completely different one the next hour. So it's fascinating because it's really tailored. I don't come in with sort of a formula. I really need to listen to the person in front of me and listen to what they want to achieve and complete, and go, okay, well, there's a research for this. I can connect you to that. This is the form that you need in order to get to here. These are the steps we need to take in order to get you to where you need to be. That's it.
Do you celebrate the wins? Do you celebrate the successes?
Yeah, in fact, I call when a client has been with us and they've reached the potential they wanted to reach. Now their quality of life is what they wanted to achieve, and even beyond sometimes. It gives me goosebumps, but I will start with a person who has PTSD and, couldn't function, to all of a sudden that person is now painting, sculpting, composing music, you know what I mean, like delving in photography and reaching, on that pyramid of needs. When you reach the top and you can actually self-fulfill, and you're no longer worried about the roof over your head, your bills, your this, da 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 da. Some will reach that, and even if they feel well enough to go out into society and say their whole goal was to simply find a doctor, a specialist, get their foot fixed, get a new wheelchair, make a new friend, and that's the goal, we celebrate. In fact, I set aside, we have client budgets and set aside for tiny celebrate. I cannot take them to Paris, but I will, we do a meal, and I talk about, okay, you actually filled out the form in order to get into Algonquin College. We need to celebrate that. That's a step. You completed that by the deadline, right? It isn't just, oh, and now you graduate and you have a diploma. No. Every step that they actually achieve along the way to their goal, to me, is cause for celebration. So I celebrate a lot.
I love that.
Yeah.
So this isn't a job, this is a calling.
Yeah, it really is. I couldn't call it a job because I'm excited to do it on a Monday morning, right? I'm exhausted by Friday, like everyone else. Right? I'm exhausted by Wednesday sometimes.
Right.
But what you said about dignity, right? I truly believe in this city. I truly believe in this country. I think we can do better. So when I'm confronted with a client in a situation that I find could be better, or sometimes an outrageous situation that is going to get better, I believe that we have the means, the services, the tools, the know-how to get them there. I truly believe that. I couldn't do this job somewhere else.
I can tell. I mean, it just comes from you. There's an aura about you. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Many people don't accomplish that in their whole lifetime, to have this kind of love for their work.
Well, when you walk past a person on the street and they might be lying down, they might be begging, you see they're unwell, and you wonder, who's helping them? What's going on? Where did it go wrong? What could possibly help them? That's kind of like this job where you actually get the privilege of meeting a person when they're not well and help walk that path with them. I don't necessarily guide them, but I'm there to support them. And that is, I don't know, is it called case management? I don't know. I know that I couldn't do this from an office.
Right.
I know that it takes battling traffic, having to parking strange places, going to all kinds of neighborhoods, put up with construction, and eating in my car.
Yes.
And try finding a bathroom in the middle of the day. It takes all of that, but it really is worth it.
What would you? We only have 2 minutes, and I'm so sad because I could spend a whole day with you. What would you say to a family who's may have somebody that's at Ottawa Salus? Talk to them right now and assure them that they're getting supported.
Yeah, so absolutely. So whether they have a Salus case manager or they're living in a Salus residence or a rehabilitation program that we have, so many programs, the goal really is to get that person that's with us to become autonomous, independent, to restore their dignity, and like I said, their autonomy. So we're not so much trying to babysit people, tell them what to do, or do it for them, but teach the skills to be able to live independently and well. It really is that. I'm not going to do your taxes for you, but we're going to go together to a place you can get them done, and then forevermore, you'll be able to do them, right? So I always, and all the other case managers, we do with the client. It isn't give me your problems, I'm going to solve them, right?
But you believe in them.
Yeah.
Which many people, I would say, many people in the community, aside from mental health, don't feel like someone believes in them.
But I think that's where the strength-based approach comes in, where others might see weakness, I detect strength.
Oh, I love that.
I really do. I will not give up. I will talk to them long enough to go, wait, go back. That's amazing. Wow. And let's bring that forward. So I will fish for that little bit of strength, determination, persistence, stubbornness. Oh, I'm using that. We're gonna. Okay, you're stubborn. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna get on the phone and we're gonna call to Revenue Canada, and you're gonna get a copy of your blah blah blah. Stay stubborn. We're gonna do that.
I love that. I love that. What a joy to spend time with you,
thank you.
and to see what you would bring every day to those clients that are so privileged to work with you as well. Thank you so much, Isabel.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Ottawa Salus is our topic today, and Isabel is just one of the incredible team members that work at Ottawa Salus. We've got more for you on An Hour to Give. We're coming back. I hope you do too. Come on back.
Welcome to Community News and Events on Rogers TV. I'm Brianna McMahon. Ottawa gets ready for the National Women's Show 2024. The event is the Ultimate Girls' Day, and it takes place at the EY Centre. It commences on Saturday, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. until Sunday, October 20th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This jam-packed event includes a beauty bar and sizzling male dancers, to name a few. Check out the National Women's Show website for more details. Ottawa gets ready as the Diamond Mine Agency proudly presents Declan McKenna. This alternative indie singer-songwriter will take the stage at the Bronson Centre on Saturday, October 19th. The doors open at 7 p.m. This event is for all, so grab your family and head to a festive night out. Watch Derek Fage's Daytime every weekday at 2 p.m. on Rogers TV 22.
Everybody knows not to drink and drive, but some people still think it's okay to take drugs and drive. Police have the authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot.
Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
Thank you so much for joining us here again on An Hour to Give. We're talking all about Ottawa Salus today. And Mark McCauley, President and CEO, is back with us, and he's brought Camille Thériault-Power with him as well. And of course, she is the past chair of Ottawa Salus. Hello to you both.
Hello.
Lovely to have you here. And so tell me a little bit about your role. Past chair is a big job.
Yes, I served as the chair of the board of Ottawa Salus for the last 5 years, and it was a big time of transition for the organization. We had a new CEO join, so we recruited him. We looked at how we governed ourselves as an organization, new strat plan, all the things foundations that you needed to put in place to build a good future for the organization and for our clients.
But that's a lot of work. That's the one thing I do know. It's a lot of work. And as a volunteer as well, right?
Yes,
and you have to be really invested. I think to be a great chair, you need to not only obviously know all the governance rules and hire great people and all of that, but you really need to feel connected.
Absolutely, but in a way of leadership that has your nose looking in but not your hands, not interfering too much, because we have a very competent leader running the organization, so it's making sure that you're supporting him and the staff and their leadership with the organization.
That's wonderful, and I know how happy you are to be working with Camille and her role as well.
We would talk every week. Yeah. So just to touch base and make sure we're taking the organization in the right direction. And it's having a board like with Camille supporting the organization and it's all volunteer, and I can call any of them up anytime, or even our past board members, and say, hey, can I run something by you? And that for me is community coming together.
And that's how a board should work, right? I mean, I think some would love this situation, right? Not every board is like that, so involved, but yet involved appropriately is the way that I'll frame that. But there's obviously big changes coming, which is very exciting, and a new campaign being launched and all of that. Yeah. So how does it feel that you were sort of at the beginning of all that, and you're seeing this launch happen?
Well, we're nervous, obviously, and excited at the same time, and really turning to the community, because we've done everything we can, working with our federal and funding partners to set the base to be able to build this building, and the building is underway. We started construction in November of last year, and so now to bring it home, we have a fundraising objective that we're looking at. We've decided to launch the campaign yesterday and turn to our friends in the community to try and meet our target. So that's what we're doing.
It's exciting. And I know it probably is a bit of sleepless nights for you, but also bouncing out of bed in the morning because you want to get there and you want to make sure that not only Ottawa Salus is running beautifully, but that this campaign is taking off in the right way. Talk to me a little bit about that, Mark.
Well, it's a typical campaign would take you about 18 months to prepare. We had less than 9 months to prepare for that campaign. So everything was doubled up. But the team, we looked at it and we said, there's a challenge in front of us, and we have a need, to help people who are aging in the right place, aging at their own home. And we said, let's just do it. And, we went for it. Obviously, we know some risks, but we mitigate the risks in any construction project, and we went for it because you know what? We have to grow, and we have to grow fast. And we're doing that right now. This project here is the beginning. We have 750 clients on our wait list, and our target is to double our capacity by 2030. We serve over 1,000 people every year in Ottawa, and we're going to make that to 2,000. And we have projects in the pipeline right now that we're working with our other community partners in supportive housing to scale and build more and do it faster and more effectively. Wow. And it's not a theory, it's happening. There's drawing plans right now for other buildings. And so what we're doing here with this project here with Capilano is really helping set the stage. And, our community needs this supportive housing. It's in crisis. There's a huge gap in our community. And we're asking the donor community to help right now, is help us set the stage and walk with us. But it's not a one-time walk journey. We're asking our community to join us on a 5 to 7 year journey to increase our capacity.
But there's something exciting about that from a donor
Yeah.
perspective, right? Because I think a lot of people will give a one-time gift and then they're kind of like, oh, you know, I don't know what actually happened with that money. But this is something, if you become invested over this period and you can become a monthly donor, for instance, or, you know, engage in an annual gift and commit to it for the next 5 to 7 years. As a donor yourself,
Yeah.
does that
Yes,
excite you?
Exactly, and I am a donor. This, you know, it doesn't take much to see in the city the challenge of supportive housing and substance use and the impact that it's basically at a crisis level in Ottawa right now. And we have a proven track record of being able to help in that space. So we're super eager to try and increase our capacity to grow as an organization, to increase our client base in support so that we've got stable housing for these people going forward.
I have to interrupt.
Of course.
Do you know, Sam, that Ottawa Salus was the first supportive housing in Canada or in Ontario?
I didn't know that.
It's the model of our first building. Our first location of supportive housing was the first where everybody was coming across the province to see how we're doing supportive housing.
Wow.
And that innovation, that's in our blood, in the organizational culture. How can we innovate and do what's next?
Well, because you're leading the way again.
We're leading the way again.
It's amazing. 47 years later, and look where you are, right? Yeah, it's incredible.
And it's fascinating to be a part of that legacy. And it's when you say, you know, it's hard getting up some days because there's a big amount of work in front of us. But when I think of that legacy, and it's in the culture and the organization, what do we have to do differently today in order to you know, meet the needs and ever-changing needs of our community? So,
and I don't know about you, but Camille, for mental health, for me, I always think there by the grace of God go I. And it could be any one of us. And so I think that really, you know, with my work history and stuff too, I saw that firsthand. But I think, you know, in your role especially, you would see like this could be any one of us in this community.
Exactly. Every family, you know, every circle of friends has experience with this for sure. And when I chose to get involved with Ottawa Salus, a very close, one of my best friends' son is really struggling with mental health challenges and substance use. And I was just looking for an organization that was actually offering tangible solutions to families and to individuals that were struggling with this. And that brought me to Ottawa Salus. So I've been there ever since volunteering. So.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And that's exactly what I mean. I think everybody can find a story in their own network. What drives you every day?
It's to have a meaningful impact to help for the person who's not seen, not heard, that's left alone, that they feel connected with others. And I always say, it's not about what I want, it's what I can do for them. And if I can sit in my rocking chair at 80 and look at myself and say, okay, the system's better, and I've helped create more space to help those who are not seen and marginalized and not heard, and give them a better life, I think I've lived a really good life. And that every day, it's what can I do? And I'm really challenging the status quo with it. I take that and I say, it's just not acceptable. I'm not taking this anymore. We have to do it differently. Politely, you know, and everything
of course.
like that.
Yes.
No, we have
You're
to
like
do
the
it
nicest
differently.
guy I know. So yes, I get that. So, and I think each of us has a role. Like, you know, we may not have, you know, the role that Mark has, but I think each of us can find a role in this community and help Ottawa Salus realize those dreams.
Exactly.
Because as we mentioned earlier, this is a village. So we can all get involved.
That's right. We're as good as our most disadvantaged resident, right, in this city. And so whether it's with donations or getting involved with your time, this is an area that really needs help. And for people that can, they should be getting involved. And we'd love them to come and help us.
Yeah, for sure.
As well. They'd be welcome.
So what are you looking for? I know you launched the campaign. Give me some numbers.
Some numbers are, so it's the federal government gave us in the Rapid Housing Initiative $18.5 million of the 25 we need. The city has contributed to it also, and it's leaving us with $5 million that Salus is going to contribute. And of that $5 million, our board has made the decision to put in $2 million. Wow. Because they believe in this aging in place and it's a need for our clients. And we had one donor who is well known in Ottawa, but knew about Salus and supported us long before supportive housing was a thing. And that was Shirley Greenberg. And she gave a significant seed donation that gave us that confidence. So we're left with about 2.7 million, and we're well on our way to reaching that target, but we do need more support. And I don't care in the sense of if it's a small amount, if it's $5 or if it's anything over and above $5 monthly or one time, but all those contributions, that's a community coming together and making something, a significant contribution for the people that we're going to serve, 54 people in that building.
54 people, their lives are going to be changed forever. Camille, does that hit home for you when I say that?
Yeah, getting the supports that they need, both from a healthcare programming and residential perspective, to have that roof over their heads and having an independent apartment that's new with a kitchen and bathroom that's theirs. This is very special. It's wonderful.
And as we said earlier, home and hope, they go together. Yes. And this is an opportunity when somebody at the end of the day can actually lock a door behind them, feel safe, and invite friends and family and say, this is where I live. I mean, they haven't had that, Mark, many of them.
They haven't had that. And that sense of safety, the simple turning of a lock, someone who's living in a shelter, that's sleeping in a shelter not knowing what will happen at night.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that's life-changing, that simple action. So it means a lot to our clients who we serve. And it's also for them to have an organization like Salus that's dedicated to supporting their clients. They're not worrying about where's my next home, because Salus is there to support them as an organization. And that is the seed for them to heal and grow. That's when someone who has significant trauma and has turned to substances to deal with the trauma can finally have time to do that. In my previous life, I was a director of a mental health program, working with people with significant trauma, and they would be making huge progresses. They lose their home, or they have a threat of losing it.
Yeah.
The therapy is gone.
Exactly. The work you're doing is incredible, Camille and Mark. Thank you so much for spending time with us today and talking all things Ottawa Salus. We are not done, though. Come back. We're going to talk more about Ottawa Salus today on An Hour to Give.
Your community news and events. I'm Vera Scultetti. The City of Ottawa is rolling out a series of in-person workshops to discuss the first draft of the new zoning bylaw. The zoning bylaw is vital. It outlines what can be built on properties without needing specific permission. Residents are encouraged to review the draft and provide feedback online or in person at any of the upcoming workshops. The first workshop started on October 1st at the Ray Friel Recreation Complex, followed by the John G. Mlakak Community Center on October 8th, the Fred Barrett Arena on October 15th, Ottawa City Hall on October 22nd, and ending with the Confederation Education Center on November 5th. Each workshop runs from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. For more information on city programs and services, visit ottawa.ca or call 311. Don't miss out on Derek Fage's Daytime every weekday at 2 p.m. on Rogers TV 22.
Kids these days, people say we lack initiative.
And technology, that we're all addicted.
Kids these days, we hear that we only care about ourselves. Apparently, we're lazy.
And don't seem to have any sense of independence.
Actually, kids these days are facing a lot.
Because the world has changed, and so have our health issues. Kids these days, we could really use your help. Join CHIO in our biggest fundraising campaign ever to transform pediatric care.
Ottawa, it's the national capital of Canada. But how much do you know about the city's history? This is Phil Jenkins. Join me as I take you on a journey through Bytown's beginnings, Ottawa's crowning as capital, amalgamation, and its becoming a city of 1 million citizens. Watch The History of Ottawa according to Phil Jenkins exclusively on Rogers TV.
Well, I promised we'd be back. We're back on An Hour to Give, talking all things Ottawa Salus. And my good friend Heather Brown has joined us. She's the Director of Philanthropy and does a fantastic job. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you. And you brought a friend with you.
I did.
Sandra Guarna, thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
And Sandra, you're with McDonald Brothers Construction. What's your role there?
So I'm the Vice President of Finance. I'm also one of the co-owners of the firm. And basically my role is quite multidisciplinary. So finance, obviously, and accounting, but I also do a bit of the marketing, human resources, a little bit of IT, basically anything that doesn't involve, strictly building stuff. And so that kind of all falls under my umbrella.
And Heather, I'm going to get you to tell us why Sandro's here today, because it's a very important reason.
Absolutely. Not only is Sandro and McDonald Brothers Construction part of our project team, but they're also big donors to our campaign. They made the special decision to support us.
And a $5 million campaign. Are you sleeping at all?
Yeah, I'm sleeping when I can. Yes, absolutely. It's exciting.
Sure. It's an exciting campaign for sure. You just launched, as we talked about a few minutes ago.
We did.
So talk to me a little bit about the relationship. How did this relationship come to be, Heather?
So the project team got started with some of my colleagues, but they had, special intentions in terms of wanting to build something for supportive housing in our marginalized communities. And Sandra and I were introduced at our groundbreaking, actually, and started the conversation there. And they wanted to take that extra step. So we're really grateful that they did.
And not everybody does that. You know how special it is, right?
I do. You know what? And, we're incredibly thrilled and so proud to be donating to this campaign and kind of kickstarting the fundraiser. And, it means so much to us to be able to give back and be an active participant, in this fundraising campaign and helping Salus achieve their goals.
And I know ground broke last year, and you've obviously come a long way. Where are we, what stage are we at?
Well, the second floor is pretty much done.
Exciting.
And we're going up, so it's a four-story building. And so there's still quite a bit, the frame of the building and then all the interior finishes. So not quite halfway there, but we're definitely on our way. And all the tough stuff is done now.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I'm not a construction gal, so I'm going to trust you in that.
All the tough stuff's usually in the ground.
Okay, good to know. 54 people are going to have their lives changed, Heather. I mean, yes, of course, bricks and mortar are important, but have you thought about walking in there for the very first time and people that are supported by Ottawa Salus walking into their new home for the first time? Have you got to that place yet?
I have, and honestly, it makes me so emotional. I think part of it is, our values at Salus in providing a dignified home and somewhere that they can be proud to live and be able to age in place and not have to worry about leaving their homes or even worse, ending up back in the shelter or on the streets because they don't have the supports that they need. So that's going to be a really special day for all of us.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait. I can't wait. And so tell me, Sandro, obviously you've got a very busy day. You wore all those different hats, which I couldn't even keep track of them all. But you're doing all that. How does this fit into your day?
So this sort of work is so important for our organization. Almost half of our workload is affordable housing complexes, especially in the last few years, because there's such a crisis and there's such a need, and we see it. And so, we're a local Ottawa business. I'm a lifelong Ottawa, resident. We see just personally, you go downtown, you see what's happening to the city, and there's a problem. And like I said, you can't be just sort of this passive, participant and seeing it happen and wondering what you can do. You need to be active in terms of helping to bring solutions to the table and helping to actively solve the problem. And that's what this is.
100%. And we're wanting more people to take action. So I know your role obviously is creating these great relationships, inspiring people to become involved in what we refer to all the time as Capilano. And the reason is because it's on Capilano.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about if we've inspired someone today listening or watching us today, what would you want them to do, Heather?
I would love to bring someone into one of our other buildings at this point and show them what we are doing, what supportive housing is all about, so they can see firsthand and meet some of our clients. It's so much more than a roof over someone's head. It's the supports people need to stay stably housed. And that's what we do. It's the supports and the housing that provide the recovery. So we would start there, and I would love for them to be part of this Capilano campaign. They can, of course, reach out for more information, but I would start there.
And you would think about all the different trades that would be involved. Do you see other people coming to the table as well, Sandra?
I do, and we've done this before with other groups, and it takes kind of a leader to come out and say, there's a campaign, we're going to make a donation. We know how important this is to the community. Will you consider, you're working directly on this building, on this project. Think of who's going to move in here. How can you help? How can you contribute? And, that usually does have an impact. And it does take kind of someone to come out and be the lead, and we're happy to do that as the builder, as the general contractor. It's important that someone steps up, and so we're here today.
You're a fundraiser's dream, right? Yes, yeah. Heather's like, keep going, Sandra. That's fantastic. Because it really is and we talk about this all the time as fun, because I'm a fundraiser as well. It's when I always see us as quarterbacks. Yeah. Sometimes we're throwing the ball all the way down the field, and sometimes we're pitching it to you, and you're going to inspire the team, right?
It takes a village.
It does take a village, absolutely. It's great. And late 2025 is when we're moving people in. Do you think they'd be in for Christmas?
Yeah, we're hoping they will be there. Yeah, absolutely.
No pressure, Sonia. Yeah.
We're in close contact.
Yeah. That's funny. So, I can't even imagine that day.
Yeah, that day is going to be amazing. And I think part of what really ties to our values too around the dignified piece is the way we're doing donor recognition for this building. So we're working with a local glass artist. So instead of that traditional donor wall, we're doing some beautiful glass pieces co-created with some of our clients to really provide that sort of healing, calming space and somewhere that they can be proud to call home.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So not only are you getting it done, but you're being creative.
Absolutely.
Which is really important as well. When you think about all the finishes and the things that actually make a home aside from all the electrical and all the foundation and all of that, have you given thought to those things yet?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. All of this is planned out from a very early get-go. As soon as you can, you start thinking about, what's this truly going to look like when it's finished? And, the architects and engineers are very in close contact. How do we want it to look? And so it's very important that when we finally deliver that final product and we achieve sort of that milestone and open our doors to Salus, that it has the impact and the effect that we want when residents come in. They go, "This is my home."
And I love the fact you used home, because there's one thing to have a square space. It's another thing to make it feel like home. How is that going to be achieved?
Absolutely. So we're going to have things like wellness clinics where they can actually stay in their homes and receive the care that they need through nurse practitioners and bringing some of those services to them. And our goal is always to create community in a building and then integrate them into the greater community so that they can start building those, those connections that they need to thrive, really.
Yeah, it really is incredible. And have you allowed yourself to sort of see past this and sort of see that you're going to be driving down Capilano someday and go, I actually had a really big role in that?
Absolutely. So I actually live in the nearby area, and I do drive by often. And, I'm on Maryville very often. So this is going to be a constant reminder of, the impact that I've made to the community. This is going to be a reminder as well of, all the efforts that we're putting into it to make this happen. And it's really gratifying.
When you think back to your career, Heather, you've had some really important roles in the city. Is this the position you were meant to have?
This one makes me sad, so I'm going to try to not get teary, but I really care about healthcare, and mental health care and housing for people is huge to me. It has a special place in my heart. Like everybody else, I've got people in my family that are living with mental health issues, substance use, and it's my little part, I think. Our clients are amazing people. I can think of so many going through my head right now, and really that's why I do the work that I do, to play a tiny role in the future for them.
It's a big role, just so you know. It's a big role. Because I think bringing people together is one thing. Like, I think, you can raise money, but if you're passionate about it and you have those personal reasons, it kind of brings it to a new level, and you do those extras, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. You have to.
Yeah, and so you just did this big launch, which is fantastic.
Yes.
So is there somewhere we can go and get more information? Are we sending somebody to a website to inspire them maybe to actually make a gift?
Absolutely. So people can visit openingdoorstodignity.ca for more information. They can reach out to me directly. My information is on the website. So happy to have those conversations and encourage those conversations. We have so many champions in our city that want to change the situation and want to be part of Salus and supportive housing. So it would be wonderful to hear from them.
Well, and I think about all the different ways people can give. I mean, we spoke, obviously, Sandra has come up with wonderful ways to give, but, I think about monthly giving.
Absolutely.
I think about people, if they're coming together for Christmas. And I find often that workplaces don't want to, hand out little cheesy gifts now. They want to let's come together, pool the money, and make a gift to an organization. So that's an idea as well. Maybe
Absolutely.
an office comes together and does something like that, or they help outfit a room, or one of the units. I mean, there's all different ways to get involved, and of course. People can obviously leave a gift in their will for future. I mean, this is a long history with Ottawa Salus, and we know that it's going to continue for many more years.
Absolutely. And I always say to people, too, if they leave and tell one other person about who we are and what we do, my work here is done.
Yeah.
So it's not only about the fundraising, it's really helping us get that visibility in the community.
Yeah, 100%. And do you tell everybody that you're involved?
I do, yeah. You know what? I love promoting especially this particular project, and we do lots of projects, but this one is very near and dear to our hearts for a multitude of reasons, and we're very excited about it. There's a lot of things to be excited about with it, and so we're going to continue to kind of toot that horn a little bit and let people know, hey, this is something to be excited about. If you want to looking for a way of giving back, this is a great place to start.
100%. And you've already had people give, which is fantastic, which has got you to where you are today. What would you say to all of them, Heather, and those future donors as well?
Oh my gosh, the biggest thanks to those donors. We have obviously our core group of supporters that have been with us for a long time, small group but very loyal, and of course we still have a long way to go to meeting our goals. So I would encourage anybody that wants to learn more and really be part of, like Sandra said, you can't go too far without seeing someone struggling with mental health and the issues that we're having with the housing crisis in Ottawa, and they can be part of the solution, and we all need to come together in order to be able to find those solutions. We can't do it alone.
100%. And we think about the families that started this. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that. Like, it's not lost on me that it's people that
grassroots Absolutely.
Came together, saw the need, and 47 years. Look where we are.
Absolutely,
it really is incredible. I've enjoyed my time with both of you. Thank you so much, Sandra, for everything you're doing.
No problem.
You could simply just build a building and not be so invested, and it's so beautiful to see you're so invested.
We're happy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Heather, for everything you do at beautiful Ottawa Salus. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank
it
you
very much. You've joined us today for an hour to give, and I'm so glad you did. I hope we've inspired you today to reach out to Ottawa Salus, hang out with Heather, hang out with Mark, learn more about this wonderful organization, and you too can be a part of such an incredible organization. Thanks for joining us on An Hour to Give.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
I'm Sam Laprade, host of Ottawa Business Matters. We're going to gather here every single week and speak about business here in the capital. We're going to inspire, influence, and inform.
I'm Wendell Clark with a word about winning. We all know it takes a team effort in any sport and with any challenge. You can be a part of the winning team that shuts out impaired driving. Whether you're out on the town or just hanging out with friends, drink responsibly. Always have a plan for a safe ride home for yourself, your family, and your friends. You'll be helping to shut out impaired driving.